Good day, fellow disciples. I hope you have a great midweek. Today we are going to dive back into a creation that we already explored a few times. But as you may know, creating games and using the independent alchemy takes time and many approaches. Thanks to that approach, Pathfinder Gallowspire Survivors is in early access. That means the game is getting patched constantly, and thanks to the community feedback and the willingness of the developers to listen, there are a lot of really nice updates to the game. There was a big update that I haven't covered, but the next big update just released yesterday. So we're going to dive into the game and read out the other, additions into the game, what they fixed, what they added, what were balanced, and all the good things. I'm going to put the updates here to the screen for you to check out, but the full log is going to be in the description. So let's read out some of the new additions and then we dive into the game and let's see how they work in progress. Additions. Hyper mode. Challenge your skills with the introduction of hyper mode, along with achievements to test your prowess. Additional passive slots. We've expanded the possibilities by adding 2 more passive slots, allowing you to equip up to 6 passives simultaneously. This is a really interesting addition because we got like 4 from the beginning, but then 6 is going to give us a whole new world to explore and whole new synergies to work with. This is basically how, alchemy works. We are going to add different ingredients to make different end results. Damage reporting. Keep track of the damage done by each attack in the results screen, giving you valuable insight into your performance. This is also a really neat feature, in my opinion, because in this case, we can track which item is dealing which amount of damage, what is synergizing really well with the other one, and so on and so forth. We have the enhanced ability progression. All abilities now display their progression under the corresponding icons, making it easier to monitor your skill development. Basically the same, but with the abilities right now that you can keep an eye on how much you developed your different skill, which gives you a little bit more of a control above your character. Next rank information. Talent description now include information about the next rank, providing clearly on your potential upgrades. Sounds really awesome. Mini boss marker. We added a ring marker under mini bosses to make them stand out during your runs. So the next patch, they divided the game into chapters, and thanks to that you can access chapters one by one, the amount of enemies that are going against you or you have to kill before you can advance to the next smaller, level were increased. So it means at the end there were much more enemies on your screen at the same time, so it was a little bit harder to see who to target or who's coming against you. But thanks to this mini marker, hopefully, this is going to be much more easier to spot. Wizard's Freeze Time Ultimate. This ultimate now freezes time and stops the timer at the end of the level, giving you a strategic advantage. Okay, today we are going to dive into the game with the rogue, and we can check out if we can, complete the normal difficulty with the rogue, going chapter by chapter. The thing is that I've already beaten the normal difficulty with the wizard, but I haven't done it with the rogue and the fighter, so we are going to aim for this. There are bug fixes as well, boss level and sequence, enemy spawning, time, upgrade potion, photosensitivity prompt, chest prompt timing. We got some balancing, which is elite chest drop rates, updated elite chest drop rates for a more balanced progression, chapter item drop rates, adjusted chapter item drop rates to improve the overall game balance. Sounds wonderful. And we have some updates. So maker color swap. Swap the maker color under the player and companion for better visibility. It's an extremely good idea because it was kind of hard to see and, you know, make differences. And headbar color. Headbars are now red instead of green for improved clarity. Also really interesting for two reasons. One, red is much more easier to see if there is a crowded thing is going on your screen. And the second one, you know, in other games, red is the main color, the standard color of a health bar. So it was a small change, but I hope that this is going to affect the game greatly. This wasn't the full patch notes. If you're interested in the bug fixes, please go to the description and click on the link to see the fully detailed patch notes. But without further ado, let's dive into this really potent creation today and let's see how we can progress. As you can see, my rogue is level 9, my wizard is level 8. My rogue is going to be my main character and the wizard is coming to assist me as a companion. Really quickly, check out the quests that we are going to go for today. Kill 6 bosses, don't get hit for 79 seconds, have healing potion active for 89 seconds. I'd like to reroll the kill 6 bosses because I don't think so that is going to happen today. But we can find another really good quest, for example, kill 6,500 regulars, which is a little bit of a doozy, but I think we can achieve it if we are going to play for a while. So without further ado, let's dive into the game, to the crypt more specifically, and maybe at the end I check out the hyper mode. That's not a must, but we will see how we progress. Here we go, crypt. Floor 1. I have like 50 hours in the game already. Okay, yep, it's going to be much better visibly. We shall find victory here, I am certain of it. One of the biggest upgrades was introduced here in the previous patch is that the weapon that you are going to use as your character is not predetermined, so there is no starting weapon with neither of the characters, so you can choose a different one to start the game with. One of my favorite weapons in the game is Chakram, because it is a ranged one and it is bouncing from one enemy to another, so I'm going to choose the Chakram to start the run with, and let's see how we can progress. My first goal is to do the do not get hit for 79 seconds, because, you know, every single time if you start the game, the first few waves are going to be much slower than the later ones, so this is a much more, you know, it's an easier way to complete this quest at the beginning. We can get an mobile defense, which is when moving you gain a 0.65% armor per second up to 13% armor. This increase resets to 0 if you stop. So we are not going to stop, as this is my plan here, because you are not getting damaged is much easier when we are constantly moving. We have a dagger upgrade, a powerful sneak, which was also added last time. Your sneak attack reduces the armor of enemies hit by almost 29% for 3 seconds. Sounds really great, but I would say let's upgrade the Chakram. So we are going to deal as much damage as we can with it, and we are going to gradually upgrade some of the other things. Now I'm going to pick the crossbow, because this is also another ranged weapon. And we're kind of going to do some ranged builds here. Also, maybe, you know, pick up the bow as well. So it is going to be a full ranged rogue. I'm not sure which one should be the last that we equip. Maybe a dart, or you know, it doesn't call dart, it's called spear, which is going to get thrown out. So we can upgrade the bow. We got some treasure hunter. You have a increased chance to get better loot and upgrades from chest. I think this is a really good idea, and since now we are having 6 passives instead of 4, maybe we can add some utility besides just maximizing damage or maximizing you know, defense, or maximizing the magic find of the character. And I'm really curious about what happens if we are going to max out all the passives and they are going to progress to a much higher level. So we have the Deadly Caltrops, which is also dealing dexterity attribute and damage per second to enemies in them, which is a really nice addition to all the ranged attacks that we are having right now. Because if we put down the Caltrops, it happens when we are getting hit, and eventually we won't be able to just get away from the enemies, so potentially we are going to get hit. So maximize the damage output even if we are getting hit. We have the Immortal Rogue, which was added last time as well. Increase the healing of cheat death and lower its cooldown. Sounds great. And we kept the critical riposte. Avoiding an attack increases the critical hit chance of your next attack by almost 13%. Basically, that sentence describes how the rogue works, or what is a rogue, so I think it's a good idea to pick it. We got the rapier, the spear, and we got some toughness. We can increase some health. I wouldn't say that is necessary just right now, so shoot a spear at the nearest enemy within range. So now we are rocking a fully ranged rogue here, and let's see what are the potentials of this character. We're doing really nice amount of damage already. Improved poison weapon. Your chance to apply poison weapon is increased by almost 7%, and poison weapons deal 12% more damage. I am not extremely sure that poison weapon can be added to all types of weapons, but I am hopeful that this is the thing. So let's hope for that all of our ranged weapons now also dealing some nasty poison damage. As you know, as they say, the poison is an interesting part of the alchemy. It gives, but it also takes away. Choking fume. Enemies in your poison smoke deal less damage. It is a really nice way to increase our survivability, because eventually we are going to use our ultimate spell, or ultimate ability, because as you can see, we are only halfway through this level, and the number of the enemies are increasing highly. So we are going to need some last minute defense if we are getting cornered or any other thing. They also sped up the dice roll. The dice roll is one of my favorite elements. I would never turn it off, because it just gives me the really nice atmosphere of the role-playing game that I love so much. But the fact that they increased the speed of the dice roll was a good call, because let's be totally honest here. If you're playing tens of hours of this game, you've been waiting for many dice to be rolled out. So sometimes when you are, let's say, farming in a game, and while I'm talking about this, let's increase the treasure hunter passive. Well, you are wasting, let's say, quote-unquote, wasting some precious time by waiting for all the dice to be rolled out. So that was a great call. And what also makes me really happy, just like yesterday when we examined the creation that we played, the dice-based, you know, deck building game called Spell Rogue, they also chosen the open version of developing things. That means they are highly receptive for community feedback, and seems like at Become Games they also highly receptive for the feedback that the players are giving to them, as they mentioned in the first live stream that was available at Poiso's channel. They also mentioned that the feedback of the community is extremely important, because they want to make a community-based game. I really hope that they are going to follow the same pattern with the Abomination Vault Pathfinder game, which is going to be a cooperative ARPG dungeon crawler hack and slash goodness, where we can control, you know, the legendary characters of the Pathfinder universe. Okay, now that being said, we are going to upgrade the bow to an epic property, so we are dealing extreme amount of damage. And since we have like half a minute to advance to the next map, I am just going to run around and gather all the shards that we left here. And thanks to the defense potion, now my movement speed is increased. Oh, we only lack just one to get the level, but it seems like they are out of reach, so we are not going to go and take them. So as you can see, for the first version of the game, at the first level, I think the enemy cap was around 150 or 120 maybe. I am not remembering the exact number. But now the first one is 800. Then we have 1200. So since they, you know, broke down the game into chapters, which means we have three different floors and a boss as a separate chapter. And once you complete it, you can choose to start with a different chapter if you want. And I think it was a really great idea, because what they got here is a relatively long, let's call it as a story-driven horde survival game, where one run lasted between like 45 to 50 minutes. Let's go with a critical riposte, because we are avoiding a little bit more, hopefully, and dealing back some nice critical damage to the enemies. So a typical run where you reach Tarbafon lasted like an hour, almost an hour, and it was quite long, because the main selling point of these types of games is the quickness, the option to stop it whenever you want, or a really quick gain, as they tend to say. But since the whole game lasted like an hour, a whole run, and there was no option to stop it or continue. I'm not even sure if they already added this, but we have the quit to main menu and we have the quit game, so I am not sure what the community has you know, asked for just yet. But in my opinion, a resume game as a save and exit type of menu would be really nice. I know that now the game is broken down to chapters, so it doesn't have the biggest merit. But if something happens, for example, you have to just step away from the computer, or you are just tired, or many reasons, and it would be, you know, just really great that you can continue the round or the run that you already started. I know many of these action roguelike horde survival games does not have this option, But the thing is that, you know, the Gallowspire Survivors game is fundamentally different from the other horde survival games, and thanks to that, I do think that a save and exit and later picking up from where you finished or where you stopped is a potentially a good idea. A little bit like new player friendly slash casual player friendly, but I think it's a good way if everyone can find its own pace how they want to play this game or not to play this game. So we got some improved poison weapon, or we have some loot upgrades, and as being, you know, classic, really nice rogues, we just want to get better equipment, we want to get better loot, because we are getting stronger thanks to that. Okay, so I'm going to use my smoke. Also not taking big amount of damage, and also doing some nice amount of damage to the mini-boss. Now the mini-boss ring is visible, which is a really nice purple one. It cuts through all the greenish, shady, you know, like phantom looking stuff. So it was a really good idea. And I'm going to increase critical riposte. Okay, can we take it down? Yes, and let's see how good the loot is from the mini-boss, since we have some really nice upgrades. We rolled a 4. Well, that was unlucky, but now we have some breath potion, so we're taking down many enemies. The breath potion is the most potent weapon slash potion in the game that you can find, and I really enjoy it. Just a whole feeling of laying waste to hordes of enemies thanks to a purplish breath coming out of your character is just pretty empowering. Wow, we are getting some really unlucky rolls here today. But you know, it doesn't matter, it's all about progressing and being on the journey. So altogether, the game's game time is not getting decreased, because if you're going to complete all the 4 levels, or sorry, all the 4 chapters, it is going to take like an hour. But it's also a really great thing that you can stop between them if you have to do anything. So like first one is going to be done when we kill the Crypt Guardian, and then Crypt Lord, Crypt Guardian, I guess, if I remember correctly. And then we are going to the next one, the library, and yeah, so it was a really neat addition. Okay, we are almost at the end, so let's just use this, and I would say a little bit of damage, a little more damage is advisable, since this is how we can take down more and more enemies at the same time at increasing damage. I am never a big fan of a full damage build, but a really great balance between survival and some damage is always extremely great. Okay, let's see the third level. Now we have to take down 2000 enemies, which is going to take a while, in my opinion. But we are getting much stronger. And also, the interesting thing is that now that we have these chapters divided, when we achieve victory and we start from the next chapter, levels are not you know, not getting over, so we are starting from level 1 as well. Some poison weapon increase damage, which is pretty nice. And I would say the fully ranged rogue is pretty cool to play. Like, I'm just running around, I don't have to get close to the enemies at all, because the dagger's attack is it has like a little bit of a range thing, so you can throw them, but you have to get just a bit more closer. I think with the chakram, the bow and the crossbow, I can just run around and try to take them down. Let's increase some defense, just to be sure. And from now on, I think we can focus on the damage dealing things, focusing some upgrades on the damage based things, because on the next level we will face the boss, and if we do not have the right amount of damage output, well, it is going to take a while. And we are having more than 200 HP, so it is pretty okay. So I would say let's go with the bow. So now we can deal damage. Okay, another level. Choking fumes. Okay, we are going to use many of these, poison bombs or smoke bombs, mainly when we face the boss, because we are going to get overwhelmed by the ads at the second phase, if you want to call them a phase. But at the second phase, the Crypt Guardian is going to summon a lot of enemies, and until we are taking him down, he's constantly spawning his minions, and he is just teleporting back to the center of the room and putting down those ley line looking, purple thunderstorm, thunderbolts type of attacks. He's always summoning some other minions, and they are hitting pretty hard. So we need some defense, definitely. But if we have more damage, of course, that means we can take it down faster. Then we do not have to focus that much on the defense. The only thing we have to focus on is just avoiding, and by just, I mean it is a really crucial part, and it's not that easy every single time. Let's go with the bow. Okay. Really quickly going to press the menu so we can see how the weapons and all the upgrades are looking now. Okay. That's a really neat feature. Oops, here's a breath potion. I am not sure how they make these potions, but if I have to guess or assume, they're using some kind of dragonish elements, because this looks like a fire-breathing dragon just with an arcane infused version of this. Maybe they are using something from a dragon, some kind of regents or some kind of parts, maybe a scale or whatever you can use to make alchemical, concoctions. Okay. Little bit over the half of the level. And the chakram also. Okay. So I think what we are going to do is, if we can take down the first boss and we can complete the chapter, we are just going to go back here and check out how the ultra mode is going to be. So a hyper mode. It's called hyper mode. And we can see how long we can survive. The only feature I still miss in the game is that you can move with one stick, and with the other stick you can freely look around with the character and just turn to, all the 360 degrees. So some of the spells can be casted while you are moving around to a different direction, or when you have that quest that stay at one place for do not move for like 79 seconds or something like that. You are still really potently can use your spells, could use your spells, if you could just look around and do the rotating thing. But hopefully, sooner or later they will add it, but it's definitely a much bigger overhaul of doing it, and adding a completely, you know, new and different axis to the movement than recoloring, for example, the health bar, or dividing the game into chapters. Okay, now we're getting some levels pretty fast, so the caltropes are getting upgraded since we are getting damaged. And we completed this floor as well. And I would say let's reroll. And another reroll. Okay, let's increase the spear's damage. And also another spear damage increase. Okay. No movement speed increase this time. And I think we just ought to go and fight the Grave General. I remember Grave Champion. Okay. So if you haven't played this game before, this is the first boss of the game, the first chapter, and there are three different phases. In the first one, we have to reduce its HP to the half, and then he's retreating, and summoning some of his minions, and after a while, he's reappearing, gathering his strength back, and he's going to spawn some pretty similar looking spells, but they look like thunderbolts, or lightning, sorry. Not thunderbolt. And also every single time he teleports back to the middle of the room to do the same, he is also summoning more and more minions, so the danger of getting overwhelmed is pretty high. But you have to keep in mind that this is the normal difficulty of the game, and my character is level 9, so I invested many talent points and many attribute points, so I am having an edge against the boss and also the enemies. This is why I am really interested in the hyper mode. I know I mentioned that maybe we are not going to check the hyper mode today, but I am interested because it would be nice to see that how my level 9 character is going to do in the hyper mode, because I think the enemies are going to spawn much faster. They're going to deal more damage thanks to that, because they are outnumbering us greatly, and the other things because we do not know the exact description of a hyper mode in the game. Just putting down the fumes. So we are dealing some really nice area of effect damage to the enemies who's trying to overwhelm us. And my goal is here to trying to damage the boss as much as I can, but also clearing the minions, because as you can see, if we are not focusing on them, they are going to overwhelm us really easily. And this is the easiest way to perish here, that not minding the minions and just trying to take down the general, and eventually they are going to corner us as they intended to do, because they are good servants of the Whispering Tyrant. And they only know one tactic, but they know it really well. So the placement is really important here, or more like prioritizing and knowing that moving away from the lightning is the main priority, and also of course moving away from the spinning axe, because it deals a really huge amount of damage. Oops, we got stunned a little bit, so we got some potion. And it would have been nice that we have the smoke bomb, but unfortunately it was on cooldown. Okay. I have a potion there just for like safekeeping. So I'm just taking this down and let's hope that we can get rid of them. Okay, no, not trying to get the potion. Because I think we will need it later if something goes wrong. Okay, we have 2 more, so shouldn't be a problem here. Okay. He's also mumbling some chanting thing when he's summoning those lightning. These pillars or lightning, these are the lightning strikes that are just coming down. They're also dealing a nasty amount of damage. So you shouldn't be standing in there. Just like every MMO or other game that we have telegraphed attacks, red or anything that is green is always bad, so you shouldn't be standing into it. See, so every time he's doing this spell, he summons 4 different minions as well. So now that they are not that many of them, we can finally now focus on the boss and trying to reduce its HP to 0. Of course, standing too close is not advisable because he's doing the flail spell, just as we can get when we unlock a chest or level up. But the only difference is that his flail is dealing brutal amount of damage. And also slowing, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe I am just remembering wrongly. Okay. And relatively thanks to that they divided the games into chapters, in my opinion, it got a little bit harder to play. Because of the enemy numbers, and I think they buffed the bosses as well. But maybe this is just, my speculation, because I haven't read the previous patch notes. To be totally honest with you, this is the first patch notes I've read, so. And I think we can take it down. Yes! Okay. And here is the boss chest. And we got some really nice money. So, since the game is broken down to chapters, now at the end, from the boss chest we can only get money. Because the level is not carrying through the next try, or, the next chapter. So it would be just a waste of resources that if we get like skill upgrades or other things. And now we were able to get 1000 gold. The only thing I experiencing here is that since the chapter thing, we are getting less gold than before, and the upgrades of the upgrade price for the potions are still pretty high. So I am not sure if they think this through or not. But see, the first, the 5th rank out of the 10 cost 12,000 golds, which is pretty much. So. And in the previous iteration, we were able to get more gold through the runs, but now with the chapters, it feels like that we are getting a little bit less than before. So now that we were able to see how the chapter dividing thing is working in the game, what do you say that let's check out the hyper mode? Because everyone is pretty interested about it. I am pretty interested about it, but before we do it, I am just going to spend my hard-earned points to increase the last one. No, the one before the last one that I can increase from 4 points. And for the hyper mode, I'm going to choose my trusty wizard here. I almost said sorcerer, but that's a different one. And with this, we're going to click on the hyper mode, and just for the sake of fun, we're going to start it with the library and in adventure level. And can I... Yes, I can also go to the veteran. So hyper mode can be applied to all the already unlocked chapters on the already unlocked difficulties. So let's see, Wizard and Rogue hyper mode library. I am a little bit scared, to be honest, because my Rogue is pretty well equipped, and also my Wizard is pretty well equipped, but I do sense that maybe some overwhelming thing is going to happen. Okay, we have an epic ice storm to start with, so I am going to click on it and let's see how we can stand those enemies. Okay, so hyper mode means that seems like we are faster, but also the enemies are faster. Not just movement speed, but attack speed, and the projectiles are also traveling faster, so we have to build some defenses. You have extra rerolls per adventure, or we got a chain lightning. I would say the chain lightning is going to be a really powerful weapon in our arsenal, because the faster and more enemies are going to come, we just going to blast them with the bouncing lightning that we have. Okay, another level. Spell combination. Okay, increases the damage of the extra spell cast by quickened casting. Great. Immolation. Bursting shield. Losing a charge of shield applies knockback to enemies. I think we are going to need this, because if they hit us and the charge of the shield is just taken out, we can knock them back, and we have a slight chance to move away and try to find an opening if they are trying to overwhelm us. Now with a paralyzing shock, we are also having a little bit of an edge if you want to move away. Ooh, and a epic upgrade on the chain lightning. So chain lightning is very potent, one of my favorite spells in every single game I play, and I have the opportunity to get it. I always get it. Quick focus reduces the time to gain singular focus stack by almost 23%. Great. Wow. That game is getting into speed like the end game of different type of ARPGs. I really like it. Chain lightning toughness. Your health is increased. I think some health increasing is imminent here, because just to be sure, as they say, better safe than sorry. So I am going to follow this principle, although it's not a principle that we usually use in alchemy, because the better safe than sorry is directly the opposite that we are using while we are experimenting with different elements. But of course, maybe it's a good rule of thumb, because if you don't want to just perish because you combine two elements that cannot go really well together, well, you can really easily find yourself dying. Okay. I have to say, I really like the hyper mode already. I like the original pace of the game as well, because it brings the whole, aesthetic and atmosphere of the dungeon crawling effect. Because when you are playing a dungeon crawling game, or dungeon crawler game in real life, and by that I mean the tabletop version, not the ARPGs, you definitely need to be slow at the beginning, tactical, trying to defend yourself, sneaking through, being precise, whatever. But it is also feeling really great that my character is just running around much faster, the enemies are running much faster, and the time between levels and the different types of encounters is just got shorter. So if you are someone who's liking the horde survival genre, but also a big fan of ARPGs, I think that you are going to find this mode really pleasable for you. Really pleasing. Okay. But also, that means that the danger, the effects of danger, is much bigger. Because it's going to all directions. So we're getting faster, we are getting stronger, and we are getting levels faster. But that means that the enemies are also faster, stronger, and higher in numbers. So let's see how long we can progress with the wizard and the rogue. Okay, so the Crypt Knight is running pretty funnily at this level. Okay. So for example, completing a quest here as that stand still for 80 seconds, maybe it's not that easy to complete at all. Okay, rest potion. Okay, really big advantage or leverage. I think we should complete the four active attacking spells that we are using, because that means every single time the cooldown of the spell is ticking down, we are blasting one more projectile or spell or whatever you want to call it. So we are taking down more enemies. So we have an ice one, we have a lightning one, we have a force barrage. So I'd like to fish for a fire one, just to have the full arsenal. And now the falling star, I think, is a great addition, which is doing damage randomly, placed randomly, but it is a really devastating spell. And I think in this mode we need the maximum devastation that we can unleash. Spell combination. Okay. I think this is the new edition. Or maybe I haven't played that much of a wizard since the patch. But I did not see this. Okay. Ooh, here is the big one. So now we are running around. Maybe it's time to slow time. Ooh, okay. Of course, the freeze time takes much less than usually. So maybe that was a bad idea just to run into with the slow time. Also that they are summoning more enemies, that means that we can take down the level much faster. So let's freeze time, move away, get the potions, and we are just running. Okay, now it is getting to a speed of a Pass of Exile endgame style. And this is only the second level. We are also going to have a third one and the boss, so this is brutal. Let's go with the resilience. We need some armor. Okay, we are fine. Is there anything that we can loot here? So besides all the sweet experience we have. Ooh, Ice Storm as a legendary. Loot here. Let's go check this out. If we can. No, unfortunately we could not reach the chest. Never mind. Okay, so floor 3. Ooh. I do not have high hopes. I know that being a doomer gloomer is not a great mindset, but based on how fast they were at the last few waves, the previous floor, I think it's going to be a little bit harder than I imagined. Okay, Oh, yes. So let's take down the elites. So we are getting a much bigger amount of experience killing them. I am not sure if the chests are opening faster as well. Thanks to that, the whole game mode is much faster in pace. I'd like to test this. If I can get a bursting shield, awesome. If I have another chance to open some chests. Okay. We killed them. Ooh, getting all the nice XP thanks to the potions. Another bursting shield. Feels like that Sonic the Hedgehog running away from enemies and also try to lay waste on them at the same time. It's extremely fun, but also a little bit tiring. So the normal game mode is maybe a little bit more laid back, and you can do your farming and you can do your tactical movement of trying to emulate the dungeon crawling thing, but here this is more like a reflex game, which is a really great addition and great thing, but I am not sure if this is going to replace the main game mode for me. I am pretty sure that was not the intention, that they want to replace the main game mode, because otherwise they would just increase the speed of the game as a default. Ooh, okay. Now that was a really nice amount of experience getting here. Okay. Spell combination and some paralyzing shock. Okay. So maybe we can keep them away just a little bit more. Another level, quick focus. I only have one reroll, so maybe I should use it wisely. Oof. So now the photosensitivity warning is definitely imminent, because now that we are also having the same amount of enemies, but also the projectiles are getting blasted much faster. And as someone who's having a pretty sensitive eye, I do feel that it is getting kind of straining for a long time. Okay, we got a potion. Okay, and we were able to complete the level. Okay, that was close. And we used our ability, the death save ability of the wizard. So I'm not sure if we can survive the Crying Kings, but we're going to see. Okay. Ooh. So how fast are they going to cast? Okay, not that fast. I was assuming that they are casting much faster, since you are running around much faster. Interesting. I think they cast with the same time intervals between... Okay. Interesting. It's kind of easy to get away from them. By default as well. So if you just run around in circles, or you don't even have to run around in circles, you just have to focus on when they get the rhythm, and when they cast, just move away. Okay, so 3 of them at the same time. This is going to be a problematic one. So what I'm trying to do is move away from them. And also let's revive the rogue. Ooh, okay. Well. Now they are casting faster, or maybe it seems faster because they are doing it at the same time. All three of them. And I do not have a potion anywhere, unfortunately. So what I should do is single out one of them. So if I kill one of them, I can get potions back. Can I? Yes. So the rogue is up, and I only have no more health because I just ran into the poison cloud. Okay. Interesting. It definitely needs some practice. So my advice is start with the first level if you want to try out the hyper mode, and then go to the other ones. Okay, let's spend the talent if we can, but I don't think so. No, it requires 4 points to spend. Okay. So let's quickly summarize what we experienced here today. It is a really nice thing to see that Pathfinder Gallowspire Survivors is getting this type of treatment, that every single time a big patch comes out, they add some really great things, they balance things, and they are also listening to the community feedback. As I mentioned, that I am big advocate of these type of development, because at the end of the day you are making this game for people to buy it and to enjoy it, not to yourself. So if you have a base idea which is pretty strong, but there are also some things that can be tweaked to, let's say, master your formula, well, it's a really good thing that if you have the willingness and the power to listen and also implement some of the changes that the community is suggesting. So I think this is a really great way that the team of Become have chosen, and I really hope that they will do this with their other game, the other Pathfinder ARPG that they're going to release next year, if I am correct. So as always, I'd like to thank you for joining me on the journey of discovering powerful creations of the independent alchemy. If you like the content of the channel, please put on your journeying boots and follow me on the path by subscribing. Also, a nice thumbs up would be appreciated for 2 reasons. One, that shows me that you like the content, which is a really great thing. And the second one, it helps the channel out with the algorithm. That means more people will be able to see the video, and maybe they learn something or getting entertained, or they can learn about other really nice indie game creations that they haven't heard before. And as the last one, if you have something to add about the game or about anything else on the channel, please consider typing it down in the comment section. And as always, I will see you with the next game tomorrow.